right, are then, in other words, they, as you described, inactive, they're still subject to the rules and discipline of the organisation, aren't they?
I would have to check on that because personally that's not my field. But my understanding is if a person has made it known by their actions in the community over a period of years that they're not witnesses, we would only hold any reports in abeyance until they decided they wanted to return.
Well, Mr. Jackson, I have to say that my understanding is if someone in that position is caught transgressing one of the rules, then they would still be subject to the disciplinary procedures, including possibly disfellowshipping. Is that not right?
That is a possibility, but in all fairness to your question, I think there are circumstances that I couldn't make a definitive comment on that.
Yes, and so, for example, active or sought to fade without formally dissociating, and the elders came to visit and found them celebrating Christmas or a birthday, they would be found to be in transgression of the rules, would they not?
That is not my understanding, but again, as I said, it's not my field. That goes into policy with regard to those type of things, but from my personal experience, that's not the case.
Well, you say it's not your field, but you remember the governing body, which is responsible, as you've said, for the whole field, and you've been a member for 10 years, and all the committees are responsible to and accountable to the governing body.
So, that is correct.
So it is your field, isn't it?
Only as far as approving the basic scriptural principles. So is there a scriptural principle that you have in mind you want to ask me about, or are you talking about policies and implementation of policies? So there is a difference there.
And the policies are all subject to the scriptural principles, aren't they?
Committed sins, and he will be forgiven. So, as you know, based on is that doing your celebration of different holidays and such, that is a form of apostasy, and that's the reason why we're here today. It's basically on that, and we're concerned that we've seen you, or we see you partaking of that, which is going right against what Jehovah's Word has said. And making sure that you realize that, is that the path that you really want to follow, Dan?
Right.
So.
Right, I understand. I guess obviously we're here to, I haven't talked to either of you when you've come by, because we're just trying to leave quietly, but obviously it's hit this point to where there needs to be a discussion. So the Judicial Committee is for apostasy of holidays, is that?
That's
essentially?
Right. Yeah, it's a form of apostasy.
After getting this letter, and after you guys stopped by, it was interesting being drug in for apostasy. Did you guys watch the Royal Commission of Jeffrey Jackson in Australia? The interrogation, the interviewing, it's about a 2-hour interrogation of Jeffrey Jackson, governing body member.
No.
It's a shame because he's representing you, brothers. He's representing you. And you don't know what he's saying. So, I've watched it. It's upsetting. And what kind of stuck out to me, being brought in on apostasy, Stuart, the interviewer, asked him, quote, for example, if they, or a Jehovah's Witness member, had become inactive or sought to fade without formally disassociating, and the elders came to visit and found them celebrating Christmas or a birthday, they would be found to be in transgression of the rules, would they not? So that's the question posed. Everybody should know the answer. I've been a witness for 30 years. Of course it is. Of course it is. It shocked me watching his reply. That is not my understanding, but again, as I said, it's not my field, and this is, you can draw it up and watch it. It's just a little insert from it. It's not my field. That goes into policy with regard to those type of things, but from my personal experience, that is not the case. Yes, it's the case. Of course it's the case. You guys know that. How do you stand there in front of the commission and say that's not the case? Is it saving face? What is it? So, it's confusing. It's confusing. I'll move on